Imagine living in a country where owning a home feels like an impossible dream. Grocery bills are emptying your wallet, and even the air feels unforgiving. This isn't a dystopian movie, it's Australia today. What happened to the so-called lucky country?
Oh
no! Welcome to our channel, where we uncover captivating stories from around the world. Today, we're diving into the shocking realities of a nation once considered paradise, Australia. From skyrocketing housing prices to an environmental crisis, let's explore why many are finding life here increasingly unlivable. Let's rewind to the early 2000s. Australia was a thriving nation, booming economy, abundant job opportunities, and a welcoming environment. People flocked here not just to live, but to dream. But those dreams? They've taken a dark turn. In Sydney and Melbourne, property prices have surged over 200% in the past 2 decades. The average home in Sydney now costs a staggering 1.3 million AUD. Renting isn't much better. Average rents have jumped 10 to 20% in just a few years. Imagine the story of Alex and Lisa, a young couple in Melbourne with 2 kids. They spend nearly 50% of their monthly income on rent, leaving little for other necessities. Lisa shares, "We once hoped to own a small home, but now it feels like an unattainable dream." Students aren't spared either. Take Raj from India, an international student juggling 2 part-time jobs just to afford rent and tuition. "Living here is beautiful," Raj says, "but it's also incredibly expensive." Australia is grappling with its highest inflation rate in 2 decades. Prices for essentials, food, fuel, utilities, are spiraling out of control. A 2024 report revealed that the average household spends over 30% of their income on basic groceries. Even the little things have turned into luxuries. Imagine paying nearly 10 AUD for a loaf of bread. In Australia, that's reality. For families with children, the financial pressure is even harsher. Maria, a mother of 2 in Adelaide, shares that she often buys discounted groceries at the end of the day to save costs. "Sometimes I have to choose between buying milk for my kids or paying the electricity bill. It's unfair that we're facing this in a developed country." Workers like Daniel, a delivery driver in Perth, are also feeling the pinch. "Every day I have to choose between eating well and paying my bills," he says. "I never thought life in Australia could be this tough." And it's not just about rising prices. Wages aren't keeping pace with inflation. A recent study shows that while average incomes have grown by just 2% annually, living costs have doubled. Picture an Australian summer. Not just sunny beaches, but weeks of raging bushfires. The Black Summer fires of 2019-2020 scorched over 18 million hectares of land, killed billions of animals, and left thousands homeless. But the story doesn't end there. Climate change is battering the nation. Australia ranks among the highest in per capita carbon emissions, yet its environmental policies remain inadequate. The result? The Great Barrier Reef, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is dying at an alarming rate. Listen to the words of a Queensland fisherman. "I used to catch enough fish in a day to feed my family for a week. Now, the ocean feels empty. We're trading nature for development, and the price is too high." It's not just the oceans. Rural areas are also bearing the brunt. In recent years, prolonged droughts have slashed agricultural productivity, forcing many farmers to abandon their land. John, a farmer in New South Wales, shares, "We've lost almost everything. The land is no longer fertile, and I can't keep going." Urban areas aren't spared either. Residents of cities like Brisbane endure frequent heat waves, making daily life unbearable. Anna, an office worker, shares, "Even walking from my house to the train station feels like a challenge when the temperature hits 40 degrees Celsius." Australia's public healthcare system, once envied by the world, is now grappling with significant challenges. The Medicare system, while still functional, is under enormous strain. Patients are experiencing months-long waits for treatments that were once provided promptly. Elective surgeries, including essential procedures like joint replacements, are being delayed for years in some cases. In emergency departments, overcrowding has become the norm, with patients sometimes left waiting for hours on stretchers due to a lack of available beds. We spoke with Ethan, a 67-year-old retired teacher from Sydney. He shared, "I've been waiting over a year for cataract surgery. It's frustrating because I used to hear stories about how quick and efficient the system was. Now, I feel like I'm stuck in limbo." Private healthcare isn't the safe haven it once was. Rising premiums have priced out many middle-class families. Rachel and Thomas, a young couple from Perth, recently had to drop their private insurance. "We simply couldn't afford it anymore," Thomas said. "But relying solely on the public system feels like playing roulette with our health." Education, a cornerstone of Australia's identity, is also facing significant hurdles. Public schools in underprivileged areas are underfunded, with outdated facilities and a shortage of qualified teachers. Meanwhile, university tuition fees have skyrocketed. Domestic students face increasing debt, while international students are burdened with exorbitant fees, often exceeding $40,000 AUD per year. Meena, a student from India, described her experience. "I came to Australia for a world-class education, but it's draining me financially. I work part-time and barely have enough left for rent and food. It's as if studying here means committing to financial hardship for years." Parents are feeling the pinch as well. With the rising costs of private schooling, many families are forced to compromise on their children's education or take on additional jobs. Lauren, a mother of 3 from Adelaide, explained, "Education is supposed to be the foundation of their future, but at these prices, it's starting to feel like a luxury rather than a right." Australia has always celebrated its multicultural identity, with cities like Sydney and Melbourne boasting diverse communities. However, this diversity comes with its own set of challenges. Social cohesion is being tested as financial stress and urban pressures weigh heavily on families and individuals. A report by the Australian Bureau of Statistics found that 1 in 5 Australians struggles with mental health issues. Factors like housing stress, job insecurity, and the relentless pace of modern life have created a perfect storm of anxiety and depression. The stigma around mental health has decreased, but the availability of support services hasn't kept up. Rachel, a single mother in Brisbane, shared her struggles. "Every day feels like a battle. Between paying bills, raising my kids, and just keeping myself together, I feel like I'm always on the edge. There's no time to even think about my own well-being." Youth, in particular, are facing unique challenges. Social media pressures, combined with economic insecurity, have created a generation more anxious than ever. Schools are implementing mental health programs, but these are often insufficient. The cultural fabric is also being stretched by the divide between urban and rural communities. In metropolitan areas, the fast-paced lifestyle is leading to burnout. Meanwhile, rural Australians are grappling with isolation and a lack of access to essential services. Despite these challenges, there are glimpses of hope. Communities are coming together to support one another, and grassroots movements advocating for mental health awareness are gaining traction. However, the question remains, can society adapt to these mounting pressures before it's too late? The challenges facing Australia are complex, but at their core, many stem from systemic issues and a failure to address long-term problems. Government policies, while well-intentioned, have often been reactive rather than proactive. Housing affordability, for instance, has been discussed in Parliament for decades, yet effective measures to cool the property market have been elusive. Economic factors have also played a significant role. Global inflation, the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and trade tensions have put pressure on the nation's economy. Industries like mining and agriculture, once the backbone of Australia's prosperity, are struggling to adapt to new environmental and economic realities. Climate change is another undeniable factor. From rising sea levels threatening coastal areas to increasing natural disasters, the environment is no longer the ally it once was. Successive governments have been criticized for not doing enough to transition to renewable energy sources, leaving the country vulnerable to the impacts of a warming planet. Finally, there's the question of social priorities. Experts argue that a focus on short-term economic growth has overshadowed investments in long-term well-being. Dr. Caroline Hayes, a sociologist, explains, "Australia is at a crossroads. We need to decide whether we prioritize profits or people, and that decision will shape the future of this country." So where does this leave Australia? The challenges are immense, but history shows that Australians have a remarkable ability to adapt and persevere. With the right leadership and a collective will to change, the lucky country can still reclaim its title. The answers may not come easily, but one thing is clear. Australia is facing challenges unlike any it has seen before. Yet, like any storm, with unity and timely action, this country can weather it. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories. And let us know in the comments, what are your thoughts on life in Australia? We'd love to hear from you.